A line in the sand, the transgender athlete debate. Transgender athletes competing in sports. It's a topic that sparks heated debate, dividing opinions like a referee's whistle in a championship game. On one side, we see passionate calls for inclusion and equality, emphasizing the fundamental right of transgender individuals to participate in the sports they love. On the other, concerns arise about fair play and whether biological differences could create an uneven playing field. This isn't just about wins and losses, folks. It's about navigating the complex intersection of athletic competition, gender identity, and human rights. This debate rages on, fueled by strong emotions, evolving scientific understanding, and a fundamental question: how do we ensure fairness in sports while upholding the dignity and rights of all athletes? Buckle up, because we're diving headfirst into the heart of this contentious issue. The heart of the matter: inclusion and transgender rights. Inclusion is the core of this issue. Transgender individuals deserve to participate in sports without discrimination. Sports build confidence, teamwork, and well-being. Excluding them denies a fundamental human experience. Gender identity is distinct from biological sex. Sports should be a space of acceptance and empowerment. Leveling the playing field? The argument for biological fairness. On the other side of the debate are those who raise concerns about biological differences between transgender athletes and their cisgender counterparts. They argue that these differences, particularly those related to hormones and physiology, could give transgender women a competitive advantage in women's sports. This perspective often centers around the idea that testosterone, a hormone typically present at higher levels in males, can enhance muscle mass, strength, and endurance. Opponents of transgender inclusion in women's sports argue that allowing transgender women to compete alongside cisgender women undermines fair play and jeopardizes the integrity of women's sports. They point to instances where transgender women have excelled in women's sports as evidence of a potential unfair advantage, suggesting that these successes could discourage cisgender women from participating or achieving their athletic potential. Science takes the stand: hormones, physiology, and competitive edge. The debate over transgender athletes often hinges on scientific evidence, or the lack thereof. While some studies suggest that transgender women may retain certain physical advantages after transitioning, such as increased bone density and muscle mass, others indicate that hormone therapy can significantly reduce these differences. The research on this topic is complex and evolving, with no definitive consensus on the extent to which transgender women may or may not possess a competitive advantage. Adding to the complexity is the fact that athletic performance is influenced by a multitude of factors beyond biological sex. Training regimen, nutrition, coaching, genetics, and psychological factors all play a significant role in an athlete's success. Critics argue that focusing solely on biological sex overlooks these other crucial elements. A weightlifter's story: Laurel Hubbard and the Olympic stage. The 2020 Tokyo Olympics brought the debate over transgender athletes into the global spotlight with Laurel Hubbard's participation. Hubbard's qualification sparked both support and controversy, highlighting the complexities of transgender inclusion in sports. Her presence ignited a global conversation about fairness and inclusion. Hubbard's story underscores the human side of this debate. Beyond the finish line, the ongoing struggle for transgender athletes. The challenges faced by transgender athletes extend far beyond the playing field. Many transgender individuals experience discrimination, prejudice, and violence simply for being who they are. They often face barriers to accessing healthcare, housing, and employment. In the world of sports, transgender athletes often encounter transphobic abuse, lack of acceptance from teammates or competitors, and bureaucratic hurdles related to participation requirements. These challenges take a toll on the mental health and well-being of transgender athletes. Many report feeling isolated, excluded, and misunderstood. It's crucial to remember that behind the debates about fairness and inclusion are real people who deserve to live their lives with dignity, respect, and the freedom to pursue their passions without fear of discrimination or harm. Finding common ground, solutions for fairness and inclusivity. So how do we move forward? Finding a path that balances fairness in competition with the inclusion of transgender athletes is a complex undertaking, but several potential solutions have been proposed. Some advocate for creating separate categories for transgender athletes, while others suggest implementing hormone-level restrictions or performance-based criteria for eligibility. Another approach involves shifting the focus from rigid categories to a more nuanced understanding of individual athletes. This could involve evaluating athletes on a case-by-case basis, taking into account factors such as hormone levels, transition history, and the specific sport in question. Ultimately, finding solutions requires open dialogue, empathy, and a willingness to compromise. A more inclusive world. The bigger picture of transgender rights. The debate over transgender athletes is ultimately part of a much larger conversation about transgender rights and equality. It's about creating a world where transgender individuals are not just tolerated but celebrated for who they are. It's about recognizing that transgender rights are human rights, and that everyone deserves to live their lives authentically and without fear of discrimination or violence. As we grapple with the complexities of this issue, let's remember the importance of compassion, understanding, and respect. By working together, we can create a world where sports are truly inclusive and where all athletes, regardless of gender identity, have the opportunity to compete and thrive. If you found this video insightful, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more content on important social issues. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. How do you think we can balance fairness and inclusion in sports? Join the conversation and help spread awareness. Thank you.